Story 1. Talk to coworkers and take interest in what they're saying. The amount of stuff I don't know could fill a library of phone books. But I know someone who has the answer, and I generally get a pretty good response when I ask for help. Also, if someone helps you, tell them thank you and share the credit. Story 2. Do all your chores, errands, cooking, and so on the days you work. Even if you are tired, even if you do not want to do something, you do not have to do it all, but do something. That way, on your days off, you get to actually relax. Story 3. When meeting someone new, always be more interested in talking about them than you are in talking about yourself. Master the skill, and you become the most interesting conversationalist in the room. Story 4. The only thing that I can think of is not necessarily a life hack, but more of a pro tip, I guess. If you are taking online classes where you have no physical textbooks and maybe just links to material that the teacher sent you, create a Word document, then copy and paste those links in that document. That way, they are all organized in one place, and you do not have to worry about trying to scroll back to whatever week the teacher put out that information. Story 5. Make a pros and cons list for every big decision you are weighing and hold on to it. Remind your future self that you made the best decision at the time with the information you had. Story 6. Say nice things to yourself. I don't mean to have a mantra or necessarily meditate. Don't make it complicated. I'm not very consistent at it, but my life genuinely goes better when I look in the mirror and say something like, I am a good friend. I am trying to be a good person, and I deserve joy. We live remarkably insular lives, and we communicate through so many nonverbal methods. You can go days, weeks, or longer without hearing a good thing about yourself explicitly. So do it yourself. Please. Story 7. When it comes to small repairs or home maintenance tasks, if it takes less than 5 minutes, do it right away when you think of it. Also, what I have dubbed the Harbor Freight rule is that if you need a new tool for a specific project, don't buy a super expensive one. Buy a cheap one, and if you use it enough to wear it out, then you buy the best one you can afford. It saves a ton of money on tools you think you'll use more than you do, while also building your toolbox and having top quality for the tools you use most. Story 8. Hiccup cure. Hiccups are just your diaphragm having a muscle spasm. I do this to get rid of it. Inhale deeply, then forcefully compress the air in your lungs. Force it as if you were going to blow the air out as hard as possible, but don't actually let it out. Hold for 5 to 10 seconds. This exertion of your diaphragm resets it. It works all of the time, for me at least. Story 9. Use a bench scraper to clean your counter before using a cloth or sponge to do the rest. Then dry them afterward with a clean towel. You will have no residue at all, and your countertop will look like new. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Also, when I brush my son's teeth, I pretend I can see different animals in his mouth, and I chase them with the brush. Now he loves getting his teeth brushed. Story 10. Tell yourself you'll just do something for 5 minutes. By the time you've gotten up and gotten started, you'll almost certainly do more than 5 minutes worth. But even if you only manage 5 minutes, that's still better than 0, and it will be slightly easier to start next time. Story 11. Being kind, polite, and respectful to others, while avoiding drama and quick reactions, has worked wonders in my adult life. I get much more out of an earnest thank you to someone like a waiter, service folks in general, than anyone who's ever yelled and demanded. Plus, it's free to be nice. For those having a bad day or year and are rude to me, I turn extra nice and smiley. This either annoys them because their sour mood is not affecting me, or they soften their anger and become a lot more pleasant. Story 12. If you've improperly burned a candle and it's coning, wrap it in aluminum foil and make a dome with a hole in the top. The foil will trap the heat and melt the coned wax faster, so the top layer will become all liquid. Story 13. Yelling forget it, and pretending to slam your fist through an invisible table, then just gonna do the task that you need to or have been putting off. Story 14. Keep a basic change of clothes in your car, sweats, and a t-shirt. It has saved me and others quite a few times. For example, I was at a party at a local park, and one of the girls had a period leak. I had pants she could use, which was very handy. Story 15. Take some red or orange food coloring and put it in the tank of your toilet. Leave it for half an hour and don't let anyone use it. Come back. And if you see the color in the bowl, your toilet is leaking. It could be a failing seal, or your water level is set too high. Catch a toilet leak before your bill gets outrageous. Story 16. Count down from 3 to make yourself do something you don't want to do, like getting out of bed. I forget the science, but it's some sort of neural pathway trigger. Story 17. Bribery. If you are a regular somewhere, bribe the staff there. Bring them snacks. Bring them candy. They will remember you. This works especially well at bars and restaurants in my experience. They are sick to death of eating their own food. Story 18. When you are going to criticize someone and you do not want them to be defensive, compliment them first and remind them we are on the same team. Just try it. The differences are amazing. Story 19. As soon as you come home from a trip, unpack and put away everything. I am done when the luggage is put away in the garage. It is so great to chill at home after a trip with no work to be done. Story 20. Always grabbing extra fast food napkins to keep in my car because I travel a lot. Redundant items help build habits. For example, keeping floss in the shower means I now floss daily. Keeping prebiotics in my office, kitchen, and so on means I take them daily. If working remotely, watch a webinar, online training, or meeting that you don't need to be fully engaged in while doing chores. Double productivity. Story 21. If there's a task you don't want to do, like exercise or cleaning, tell yourself you'll do at least 5 or 10 minutes, and then you can stop with no guilt at all. You'll often find that once you actually start the task, it will be much easier to keep going. And if you only do the 5 minutes and then stop, don't beat yourself up about it. There is always tomorrow. Story 22. When you are in one of those moods where you feel restless or grumpy for no reason no matter what you do, use that time to clean the house or do something you have been avoiding. If you are going to feel bad regardless of what you do, you may as well get something productive out of it. Story 23. If you need tools or a musical instrument, pawn shops can be great. Learn to store and eat leftovers. Making 4 to 6 servings of something requires as many dishes and effort as 1 or 2. Having meals prepared for the week saves time and effort. Stop making excuses about leftovers and grow up. Learn to cook and eat at home. It saves a lot of money. A decent steak costs $40 or more per person. Make your own for $20. Plus, you don't feel obligated to tip the mediocre server who is always on their phone rather than filling your glass. Story 24. If you have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, get a note application that works on all of your devices. Anything you need to remember for later goes in your notes. Sort it, tag it, whatever you have to do to find it later. I use UpNote personally and think it's pretty good without all the feature bloat that comes with something like Evernote or Microsoft OneNote. I keep all of my notes for healthcare stuff, role-playing games, writing projects, ideas, to-do lists, and more in there sorted by category, and it's great. I can pull out my phone in the grocery store, doctor's office, or wherever, and just write down anything that I need to remember for later, then have it all on my personal computer when I get home and vice versa. While you're at it, get something like Google Calendar, and anytime you have anything scheduled or just want to remind yourself to do later, put it in there with a reminder ahead of time that leaves you enough time to prepare, drive, and so on. These 2 things won't cure your attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, but they will make it a lot easier to live with. I went from being a barely functional adult who forgot things constantly and was late all the time to being a reasonably well-organized person with easy access to all my information who is never late, and it feels amazing. Story 25. Confidently stating something wrong gets you the correct information faster and easier than asking a question. Questions are almost always met with some variation of, I don't know, or look it up yourself. But everybody loves correcting someone. Story 26. After you run the dishwasher, crack the door, drape a washcloth halfway in and halfway out, and close the door again. It dries much better. I almost never have plastic with the occasional pool of water on top like I used to. Also, it's a convenient signal that the load in the dishwasher is clean, so no more asking yourself, did I run that? Story 27. Be kind. It doesn't always make or inspire humans to do the same, but I feel like a decent human, and that I did the best I could to those around me when I remember to live by this motto. Obviously, there are circumstances in which being kind is not the way, like when you have to confront a neo-Nazi or put someone in their place with your words unless confrontation is needed for being a horrible person. But in general, I've found that being kind to others, human or creature, is the happiest way for me to be. Story 28. Prevent clutter by taking photos of items with medium to low sentimental value. I've decluttered a dozen storage bins by photographing the items, uploading the photos to Google Drive, and then donating, selling, or tossing the items. Story 29. When someone tells you that someone they were close to died, ask them to tell you a great memory they have of that person. They will love you for it, and it will help them feel good. Michael Malice does this on Twitter when someone mentions a family member or friend dying and retweets their reply. He's a good guy. Story 30. Betaine hydrochloride capsules to prevent reflux. Staring into a diffuse light for 45 to 50 seconds after waking helps set the body clock, which aids in getting to sleep and waking. Magnesium for migraines. Story 31. Cold shower or ice bath is the greatest stimulant on the planet. It wakes you up more than caffeine, increases your metabolism and blood flow for hours afterward, helping you lose weight and your muscles recover, and will instantly release dopamine in your brain. Story 32. Cutting off people who are always negative about everything is such a game changer. It saves so much energy and makes life feel lighter. You don't realize how much their vibe drags you down until they're out of the picture. Story 33. Budget effectively. Christmas comes around every year, put money away each month for it. Birthdays come around, put money away each month for it. Cars go wrong, put money away each month for it. Household items need to be replaced or repaired, put money away each month for it. The list goes on. Having money put aside for all these common scenarios removes the shock value of unexpected costs. Story 34. I created an autocorrect on my phone so that typing will autocorrect to my email address. It's such a small thing that has made my life so much better, especially since I have a long email address. In the iOS settings app, navigate to General, then Keyboard, and then Text Replacement. Story 35. I like the rich man's suit life hack. You imagine putting on this suit, whether it is invisible or a real thing from your closet. When you're in that suit, you're already in that role, a rich, successful, confident man. You imagine what decisions he would make, how he would communicate with people and with clients, how he would plan his day. It is important to live this role 100%. It can be not only about wealth, but about any state you want to achieve. When you are in a suit, even thoughts are different for this state of wealth. Story 36. If this counts. Folding those plastic bags you get from the stores into tiny little triangles takes up less space and looks neat. My mom taught me this years ago, but there is a site that shows you visuals on how to do it. I have moved away from getting plastic bags, though. Story 37. Same room parenting. Don't yell instructions from the living room to a child in a bedroom. And I'm going to pat myself on the back for learning this because it wasn't how I grew up. Story 38. I always forget my left from right. If I look at my hands, my left hand makes an L. This also works in Spanish. With your left, you can do an E, which is izquierda, but sounds like izquierda. Also, if you look at your hands a lot, you'll probably do it in your dreams too, which will make you aware that you're dreaming too. Story 39. Wearing boots in the winter. It's an absolute game changer. I'm 38 now, so I'm getting old and not really cool anymore, which is perfect because now I don't have to wear slides in the snow. It's amazing how warm and dry my feet stay wearing appropriate footwear. No more mesh or breathable sneakers, no Crocs, just good old-fashioned winter boots. You younger people should try it. Story 40. Wake up early enough for work so you can take a moment to sit at ease. If you're only rushing before starting your workday, you'll continue to feel rushed when you get to work, and that feeling can color the way your entire workday feels. Take a moment, breathe, connect to yourself. Also, do the worst task first. It gives you a big sense of accomplishment and dopamine to help you get through what else is on your plate. And lastly, don't beat yourself up for not getting something done. That won't help accomplish the task and will just make it harder to do it. Give yourself grace. Life is hard. Story 41. This is a small one. If I lose my bearings in an unfamiliar neighborhood, I look at which way the satellite dishes are pointing. They point roughly southward because geostationary satellites are fixed above the equator. This is for the northern hemisphere. Story 42. If you live in a multi-story home, like a townhome, anytime you traverse the stairs, see if you can grab something to take with you. It will massively save on effort and your knees. I call it no wasted movement. My office is in the basement, so when I go upstairs to use the bathroom, I'll bring something with me when I go back down. Grab garbage or shipping boxes and take them to the garage, etc. Story 43. When you wear high heels, tape your third and fourth toes together with a Band-Aid. It alleviates the pressure on the nerve that makes your feet hurt. I just did this past weekend for a Christmas party. I wear heels once a year, and normally they hurt my feet after about an hour. I went 7 hours this past weekend in heels without any pain, then or the day after.